Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, just a couple of ideas, I guess, about what to do next. I thought from Nick's comment about trying to make the campaign positive or not negative was a very good one. Although it's a bit hard to make a campaign positive when you're against something. And I know you've already changed the name of the group once, but Stop Internet Censorship sounds very negative. Might need to have a think about that. But I also think you can't help but talk about it in regards to child porn, because that's the framework that the government is putting on it. And you can't, even with the best social media campaigning techniques in the world, you can't beat the government when it comes to setting an agenda. They have all the different mechanisms of doing it, including a whole bunch of people who are going to go online that don't use social media. So you do have to tackle that issue. I think the biggest point to make against it is just simply that it won't work. So there's a con. Conroy's con, something like that.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. You know, I don't know everybody in this room, but most of you, I presume, if we actually could do something that would somehow or other excise all child porn, most of us, I expect, would support that. So it's actually not against censorship per se. I think we would all support censoring child porn if it could be done. The key thing is it's not being done by this, it can't be done, and it's finding all the ways to indicate that it's not going to work, and thus has all these other flow and consequences, whether it's slower net speed, or secret blacklist or whatever, or even just parents who think that they're okay now with letting their kids use the computer when they're not. That's the biggest issue. So that, to me, is where to put the debate. How to do that, what slogans you use, and there's many different ways. You've got to get out to all those people, including a whole lot who just don't, they don't know what peer-to-peer means, they don't know what the internet really means properly. Facebook is scary. So, that's where you've got to focus.
Can I add, they don't even know what a feed is, let alone why we want a tweet.
Yeah, true that.
Hence why we're trying to move away from that whole feed talk ourselves.
Can we stop saying filter completely?
Yes.
Every time we describe it, say mandatory censorship.
Yes.
Well, we could do that, but when we talk about the technology, it is a web filter that they're using. So you still got to use the terminology, it's there.
You can't talk about technology. Not to my parents.
No, not to your parents, but I mean, there is a time and place for certain terminology. Kathleen.
I just want to say quickly, I work in a unionised workforce and educational institution, so I'm not afraid to bring up politics at work. So if you're comfortable, your biggest audience is your colleagues. No one at my work, down to academics, has any idea about this.
Yeah.
So I've been slowly feeding information. So that's the mums that you work with, the dads that you work with, fellow students, whatever, talk to them as well.
Two things very quickly. We were talking before about how we were going to try and popularise, make this popular with people who are the majority. I think the best argument we can bring to them is, which is already brought up in the 7pm project and such, is that Australia would be the first, other than Iran and such, like Australia would be the first democratic or Western country to have mandatory censorship in the internet. And the second is, of course, and like that would be our counter for their pornography argument. And the second thing is, it's very scary how few people have heard of this. I mean, I've gone through the Australian ABC to NetEU because they're one of the few sites which I can use at work, and there's very few articles on this, and very few of my friends have heard about this within like all the details.
Building upon that point, there was a comment on Twitter not very long ago that you know that you've got a you know that it's a big deal when even Fox News is on your side. Building upon that, and I know it's not something that we've talked about overly much so far, looking more at the online side of things, but people like Today Tonight and The Current Affair, which do push that very propaganda message, but push it to a mainstream mass. I wonder if we'd even have a market to start talking to them and see if they can do a story up on it, and just push it out there. They're not someone who normally
They might spin it against us.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's no reason we can't try and get someone who's sympathetic to that view in there and see if we can get a change.
Right. I think
4 minutes left, so...
Right, I think
just try and jump around a bit.
tactically, we should do what Stephen Conroy is doing. So he's bringing up child porn, he's linking us to child pornographers, pro-rape and stuff like that. We should expose his con. So Conroy's con was actually a very, very good idea. And I've actually read the report from Top 10, and it had no meat, it had nothing. So that's a very big con, and I think everybody should know about that.
Excellent.
I think we need to look at this, as Carol was saying, as an advertising campaign. We have to work out the message and work out our market and then deliver that message. And we're all very social media savvy people, but the majority of Australians just aren't. And while, yes, it's important, I have a couple of ideas on how to do that, but we need to have a soccer mum face for each state or each location. Yes. Who is the voice who takes nice photos, who can speak well, who's not already in the media, etc., etc. So we need to get someone like that on board. But as well, we need to also start having that coordinated response that political parties have. If you ever watch the news in the morning or read the paper, you'll always see the same people tweeting their message, or not tweeting, posting their message on the Courier Mail, Brisbane Times, whatever it might be. So we need people who's there throwing that in people's faces as well, because that's a side of social media that we're really just not addressing yet. So we need to get in that level, which we're not doing, and also have the soccer mums.
And letters to the editor as well.
Letters to the editor.
I was going to say MS.
Yeah.
MS so much.
Not MX, the ones the parents read and your grandparents read.
Yeah.
The Courier Mail.
The Courier Mail.
Okay guys, we're running out of time, so I'm going to leave it to 4 more people, and I've already got them in my mind, so lady in blue at the back there.
Hello. Just a couple of points. I feel like this is part of a bigger plan to dumb down Australia. And I think, they're already doing it in the US, and there's a guy in the US, I don't know if anybody's heard of Alex Jones. Yeah, okay, so he's making his own docos and he's posting them on Twitter, and he's encouraging people to share them and burn them, and I can see it's really reflecting, like what's happening in Australia is really what has already happened in America, how they're dumbing their country down. And yeah, so I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you.